All right, let's get into this. Because apparently, we need to go over basic economics like it's a kindergarten lesson for people who still think Santa Claus is real.
Taxing billionaires is the only way to save our economy, bro. Taxing billionaires isn't going to do anything to save your economy. What the fuck? It's such a stupid fixation, bro. Design your tax policy to be effective. Stop imagining or fantasizing delusionally that like 100 or so, whatever billionaires are somehow going to bail out all of your government issues. It's just never going to be the case. You're never going to capture that much wealth with any type of tax. The capital flight is going to be instantaneous if you try to like take away a ton of it. You're going to destroy your market. It's not feasible. It's never going to happen. Widen your tax base, okay? That means middle class is going to have to start chipping in, okay? And maybe even the working class. All right, widen your tax base and then up your rates on your top progressive taxes, and then figure out other clever ways to capture money from people earning money in other ways. So like your capital gains rates, long-term capital gains, that should probably be higher. I don't know why it's as low as it is. Up that a little bit, and then find ways to force people to step their bases up in investment so they can't just have unrealized gains forever. You know, find ways to capture more revenue that way. But it's not just going to be billionaires that can bail you out of all of your economic problems. It's just, that's the one thing. It's just stupid.
Isn't making the claim in any kind of straightforward way that no, history is other than you think it is. Ukraine actually started the war. He was sort of riffing. He was saying, you've been...
Disagree, Destiny. You can disagree with me if you want, but you're just wrong. This isn't like an opinion. Like, you can look at the amount of wealth the billionaires have and think of ways like you have nothing. Like, it's an emotional position of like, I think the billionaires can bail out the country. They can't. It's not even like a reasonable minds can disagree. It's just you're incorrect. I don't know what you want me to say.
Started the war. He was sort of riffing. He was saying, you've been fighting for 3 years. You should have put an end to it. You shouldn't have started it. And he sort of blurted out the phrase, you shouldn't have started it, and was anchored to it. And then you watched the ripples through the epistemology of the Republican Party, where people had to figure out how to construe that utterance.
Delete the cap on Social Security, then expand SS to all Americans, and you have the start of a UBI. So deleting the cap on Social Security would be insane. That would be one of the most insane tax increases like of all time. You can maybe raise the cap on Social Security, but the issue is you shouldn't be tapping, like one issue we already have with Social Security is that people borrow from that fund. You probably shouldn't be using Social Security taxes though to fund other things in the government. Like Social Security should never be used to fund BI, because once you start putting political demands on the Social Security fund, you're in a world where you can lose the Social Security stuff because of political stuff. Social Security should be its own thing that nobody fled, that nobody touches. It's not used for any other purpose. Just Social Security is there. If you want to raise the cap a little bit, maybe to shore up issues with the Social Security fund, maybe. But I don't even know if we need to raise the cap. I'm pretty sure the only issues with liquidity in that fund right now are just the fact that the federal government borrows from it. So if you raise the cap, you can do it, but the federal government might just borrow more from the fund. So it's like, what the fuck point?
As anything other than
the marginal tax rate used to be extremely high, and the country underwent massive expansion in the middle 1900s. History is literally against you. No, tax code is against you. You just don't know how taxes work because you probably have never filled out even a 1040 easy in your entire life. That tax code doesn't even exist anymore. The actual tax rates might be high, but the effective tax that people actually pay was not 90%, like some people like to say. Some people like to jerk off that marginal tax rate. If the tax rate is 90%, people aren't earning money on ordinary income. They're shifting their money around through other means, right? You can't make the rates that high and expect that people are just going to pay it, especially in an international market today. You're just going to have people just flee to other markets and earn their money elsewhere. Don't the top 1% own like 30% of America's wealth? Why wouldn't you be able to raise serious money by taxing them more? What does owning wealth have to do with anything? We don't tax wealth in this country, and there's not really a good way to tax wealth. Generally, we tax income, or we have use taxes or whatever. Are all the 30-something-year-olds, when it comes to Social Security benefits, I hear a lot about it going insolvent in the medium term? No. If Social Security is truly and utterly, then you'll get 78% of what you're promised. But that's like the worst case scenario. The idea that it's insolvent or you're going to not get anything when you're older is stupid.
And delusional.
Yeah. No.
Reran 20 seconds. See if you agree. Sorry. Taxing unrealized gains, I think in the market, I think through that slowly, that I think would be effective. Some people disagree. Taxing wealth is stupid and it's a fool's errand. Doing wealth taxes of any kind, I think would just be dumb. Billionaires pay taxes. If you think they don't pay any taxes, you're just getting fed propaganda. The wealthiest people in this country pay the vast majority or overpay a ton based on the percentage of the population they are. But it's because they make a lot more money as well. But when I say expand the tax base, I just think it's when you expand your tax base, you can capture way more revenue than you ordinarily would be able to by trying to milk just like a small percentage of people of enough money, which creates a lot more distortionary effects that you probably don't want. Why are you so against wealth taxes? I know you say it sucks, but why? It sucks because, one, valuing somebody's wealth is already incredibly difficult to do, right? So if you own a house that hasn't been sold for a long time, is like, how do you value what the actual price of the house is that you're going to pay a tax on? Two, where does your wealth tax start? Like, are we going to start forcing business owners to like liquidate their businesses just to like slowly have their wealth drained every year by the U.S. government? How do you even value a business that's like privately held? I think these things are incredibly difficult to do. The amount of people you have to hire to do it, it's just too much. I think it would just be better to have like step up in basis taxes or like higher like capital gains taxes. It would be much simpler to levy these taxes. I think you'd get more money from it. You wouldn't have to hire so many IRS agents and all this to account for it. I just think it'd be better to collect money that way.
The phrase "you shouldn't have started it" and was.
I know some people feel billionaires are some mythical dragons sleeping on mountains of gold that we just need to slay to fund universal health care, free college, and a personal foot massage for every American citizen. So let's start with the grand delusion, the belief that taxing billionaires is the magical golden ticket to solving every financial woe this country has ever had. You've heard the talking points before, right? The rich don't pay their fair share. If we just taxed the 1%, we could have universal everything. Billionaires shouldn't exist. And then some guy in an AOC hoodie posts a meme about how Elon Musk could end world hunger by cutting a check. And suddenly, we have an entire generation convinced that our economic problems stem from Jeff Bezos not throwing enough loose change into the government's beggar cup. Except here, the thing, it's not going to work. It's not even close to being realistic. And anyone who has spent 5 seconds actually looking at numbers instead of rage-scrolling Twitter would know that. You want to tax billionaires out of existence? Cool. How? Do you even know where their money is? Here's a hint. It's not in Scrooge McDuck's vault, ready for the government to just waltz in and seize. Billionaires don't just have a fat stack of cash sitting in their Chase savings account waiting to be looted by Uncle Sam. Their wealth is in assets, stocks, real estate, private companies, investments. You know, things that don't just magically turn into cash the moment the IRS decides it wants a bigger slice of the pie. So what happens when you try to tax wealth? Well, first you have to figure out how to value everything. And here, where the fun starts, because how exactly are you valuing someone's business? If Jeff Bezos owns Amazon, are you taxing him based on today's stock price? What about tomorrow's? What if the market dips? What if we overvalue it? Are we forcing billionaires to liquidate their assets every year just to pay this fantasy tax? Are we crashing markets left and right because some intern at the IRS assigned an arbitrary value to Elon Musk's Twitter stock? And let's not forget capital flight, because the moment you announce a big, juicy billionaire tax, guess what happens? The rich pack their bags and leave. They don't sit there, hand over their wealth, and say, "Oh, gee whiz, I guess I owe my fair share." No, they call their accountants, move assets overseas, restructure their businesses, and suddenly all that wealth you thought you were taxing vanishes into thin air. Now what? You've scared off investment, crushed business growth, and still don't have enough money to fund your utopian dreams. Here, what people don't understand. Even if you confiscated every single dollar from every billionaire in America, it wouldn't be enough to fund the government for a year. That's not a joke. That's not hyperbole. That's math. Go ahead, Google it. If you liquidated the entire fortune of every U.S. billionaire, down to the last yacht, the last mansion, the last cent, you'd barely make a dent in federal spending. So what happens next? Well, if billionaires alone can't foot the bill, that means you have to expand the tax base. Oh, that means the middle class, yes, you dear reader, has to start chipping in more. And suddenly that whole eat the rich shtick doesn't sound so appealing anymore, does it? Now, let's be clear. I'm not saying we shouldn't tax the wealthy. We absolutely should. But you have to do it in a way that actually works instead of waving a pitchfork around screaming, "Wealth tax! Wealth tax!" like some medieval peasant who just discovered capitalism. Want more revenue? Raise the capital gains tax. Long-term capital gains are taxed way lower than they should be, and billionaires are getting away with paying lower rates than middle-class workers. Want to fix that? Increase it. Want to close loopholes? End the ability to infinitely defer unrealized gains. Make it so that if you're sitting on a mountain of assets, you can't just borrow against them forever and never pay taxes. Want to shore up Social Security? Stop raiding the fund like it's a personal piggy bank for other government programs. Maybe remove the cap on Social Security taxes, but don't go insane and turn it into a slush fund for everything under the sun. Want to make sure everyone pays their fair share? Broaden the tax base. Tax more income brackets fairly instead of fantasizing that billionaires alone can pay for everything. At the end of the day, the entire argument for a wealth tax is emotional, not logical. People feel like billionaires should pay more. People want to believe that seizing their wealth is the solution, but feelings don't fix budgets. And unless you're willing to do the actual work, fixing loopholes, creating enforceable tax policies, and broadening the base, your wealth tax fantasy is just that, a fantasy. So what's the conclusion here? Stop pretending that a handful of billionaires are going to bail out the entire government. Stop proposing policies that don't work just because they feel good. And for the love of all things logical, maybe, just maybe, pick up a basic economics book before you start ranting about how taxing billionaires will save the economy. Because spoiler alert, it won't. And now folks, time to pay the bills. The content on my channel is next level. It's not your average, run-of-the-mill, boring stuff. No, it's explosive, it's viral, it's must-see TV. Every video is a masterpiece. Every episode is a hit. Every moment is unforgettable. Whether it's interviews, hot takes, behind-the-scenes action, or just me keeping it real, you're guaranteed to be entertained. You're guaranteed to be informed. You're guaranteed to be inspired. This isn't just content, it's an experience. And you, my friend, deserve to experience it. The choice is yours, but let me tell you something. Winners don't sit on the sidelines. Winners don't wait for tomorrow. Winners take action. Winners seize the moment. Winners subscribe. So what are you going to do? Are you going to be a winner, or are you going to get left behind? I think you know the answer. I think you know what you need to do. So go ahead. Hit that subscribe button. Join the winning team. Be part of something special. Because that's what my channel is, special, unique. One of a kind, and you, my friend, you deserve to be part of it. Thank you and God bless. Now go subscribe.